On everyone. So yesterday the Lakers took a loss to the Golden State Warriors, and LeBron did not play in that game. And personally, I thought it was a good opportunity for Spencer Dinwiddie to kind of flash and be more aggressive and show what he can bring to this Lakers team. And unfortunately, it just didn't happen. Now, I don't really put it solely on Spencer Dinwiddie, primarily because it just looked like while he was out there, he's still just kind of out there, right? Like he doesn't really know his role. He doesn't really understand where he's supposed to be yet. Even when he has the ball, he's still kind of a little passive. He rarely does get the ball. I mean, he only played 18 minutes yesterday. He took 6 shots, was 5 points, 3 assists in 18 minutes, and he had 5 fouls. So that was also part of why he only played 18 minutes. Foul trouble kept him out for a good majority. Some of those fouls were a little sus, but nonetheless, I digress. The point is that Spencer Dinwiddie, he's only played 3 games. So obviously it's not a huge sample size to know like what can he really bring to the Lakers. We have seen the flashes for things. He got another and one, his ability to get to the rim, finish through contact, his ability to make plays, right? He penetrates, was able to get the ball to AD a couple times. And his game with AD, as that grows and develops, I think will be a really big asset. Him having the ability to play make off the bench, I think is going to be a really big asset. And then whatever he provides on the offensive side of things, again, should be very big for the Lakers. But I was hoping that, yes, he only played 2 games, and then we had this 8-day hiatus. I was hoping that the Lakers would kind of be able to fill him in during that time. Now, obviously, LeBron and AD, they're out at All-Star. Guys are getting breaks. Like, this is the time for everyone to relax. So I hope, and I don't know one way or another, none of us really do, but I was hoping that would give Spencer Dinwiddie an opportunity to watch tape, kind of figure out, okay, here's the offense, maybe sit down with Darvin Ham, kind of go over a few things. Okay, this is where I want you. Kind of just paint the picture of what he envisions, where he should be, what you want him to do when he has the ball in his hands, the things to look out for. A lot of yesterday also, though, was even when Spencer Dinwiddie had the basketball, there was no movement. And there was no movement, period, yesterday. It was a lot of just shot chucking, a lot of just kind of standing around. I mean, the Lakers jacked up 35 threes and only made 10 of them. One of the things that led to the Lakers' success or this past like 15-game stretch or whatever was them moving without the basketball, them not having the ball get stuck, right? None of the sticky hands. The ball just kept being free-flowing, right? Lots of action. That was something we just didn't see. Like Golden State played zone, and the Lakers just like played into the zone. They never really attacked the zone. They really never tried to play out of it. They just kind of were like, okay, well, they're just going to let us shoot threes, so let's take a bunch of threes rather than playing their game that leads to success. So again, I don't really knock Spencer Dinwiddie that much because it's like when he did have the basketball at the top of the key, he's looking around for people to do something, and everyone's just standing, still. And, AD might come and set the screen, so then he's like, okay, I'll just run some action with AD, and that's kind of what you saw yesterday, where if there was movement, there was action, right? Maybe he actually does get to make some plays and actually get involved. But when everyone's just standing around, he's looking at it as like, okay, I either need to be aggressive and attack the basket or run some action with Anthony Davis because he's the only one that's setting picks and stuff for me. So that's what he did. And you saw that little stretch where he went and was aggressive, got a couple baskets, and then also made a couple plays for Anthony Davis. So again, I can't really knock the guy on his performance in the Warriors game because it's like, it still seems like he has no real carved out role yet. Now, again, we don't know what went on after or during the All-Star break. Maybe he did get sets or he did get like the scouting report. He did get all of the information that he needed, but it's one thing to like analyze stuff. It's another thing to actually see it in the game. And then if he was watching film and tape and all that stuff and none of that stuff is unfolding, well, then he definitely doesn't know what to do, right? If nobody's moving, he's like, wait, I'm in, spot A, these guys are supposed to crisscross. This guy's supposed to go over. It's tough for him, right? And look, obviously D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, I think that they need, when they have Spencer Dinwiddie on the court, need to get him more involved. A lot of times it's just, they kind of just forget he's out there or kind of play as if he's not even really out there at times. D'Lo is a little more willing at times, but still, these two guys are the two main guards, and in my opinion, it's their job to help get Spencer Dinwiddie acclimated, right? Like, D'Lo has a relationship with Spencer Dinwiddie. They played together. Like, I hope D'Angelo Russell is sitting with Dinwiddie and going over stuff and explaining things to him. And you would think that D'Lo would want to kind of get him more involved because we need Spencer Dinwiddie badly, right? Like, D'Lo could use Spencer Dinwiddie and benefit from Spencer Dinwiddie if they could develop that on-court chemistry again and have that foundation, because it's like, okay, when D'Lo has the ball, he has a Spencer Dinwiddie as his outlet. He knows where Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be and what his game plan is. And then also when Spencer Dinwiddie has the ball, D'Lo, being the threat that he is shooting the basketball, now Spencer Dinwiddie has that outlet for D'Lo. And Austin Reeves, I personally just don't believe that Austin Reeves should be the main playmaker when D'Lo and LeBron are off the bench or on the bench, right? Austin Reeves just isn't great in that department. He doesn't do well with ball pressure. He gets tunnel vision too much. You saw that a bunch of times on Golden State, right? I've talked heavily about Austin Reeves can make plays. He's not a playmaker, right? A guy that can make plays, most NBA players can make plays, right? They can find the open man. They can run the general pick and roll stuff, right? They can find the occasional cutter. They can throw the lob. But it's one thing to be able to do that. It's another thing to actually make things develop. It's different to actually see things and create things based on those reactions, right? Great example was twice in like a 10 possession stretch or whatever. Austin Reeves has the ball, top of the key. Anthony Davis has clear established position, and he has a younger guy. One time it was Pot on him, and instead of Reeves recognizing the mismatch, recognizing the advantage, he decides to just chuck up a three. That was frustrating. Okay. But then, like I said, several plays later, he does the same thing. This time, Anthony Davis, again, has established position against a smaller Moses Moody. And what does Austin Reeves do? He jacks up another three. Those kind of things are extremely frustrating. Those are the type of things that it's like, that's what I talk about when I say he's not a playmaker. He needed to recognize those things. I don't care, even if you are wide open, you have a mismatch, right? You have an opportunity to potentially get an and one or an easy two, especially the way Anthony Davis was playing and dominating yesterday. You feed your big man the ball. You feed your best player the basketball. But instead, Austin Reeves decided, hey, it's better for me to just jack up this three twice, right? And again, ball pressure and stuff like that. I just think Spencer Dinwiddie, even in the small sample size we've had, you've seen him recognize those things more. You saw a sequence where Spencer Dinwiddie had the ball. He was kind of navigating through the defense, saw what was developing, and was able to get the ball to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was able to execute and get the bucket. That happened twice, and those were two of his three assists, if I'm not mistaken. All three of his assists might have came from AD, but the two that I remember very vividly are those two. And so I just think at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, you have Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell is the point guard. You let him run the show. You let him continue to play the way he's been playing. And then when D'Lo goes to the bench, which usually LeBron goes to the bench too, when you have those two guys out, instead of Austin Reeves running the show, it should be Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie should be on ball as your point guard. That way Austin Reeves gets to continue to play the role that he's best at, which is the two guard. I'm not saying Austin Reeves can't ever execute and initiate the offense, but 99% of the time when Spencer Dinwiddie's on the court, he's the guy that should be running the offense. He's the guy that you brought in to be the playmaker, defender, and scorer off the bench to kind of help when D'Lo and LeBron go to the bench, right? We didn't have that all season. Well, now we do. So now you make the adjustments and you make the right play. You make the right call, which is give Spencer Dinwiddie the basketball and you let him go to work and you let him generate the offense and you let him score points, right? Like, that's what I think that they need to do. And then Austin Reeves gets to continue to play his main role. And then you always have a Dinwiddie and Reeves, or D'Lo and Dinwiddie, or D'Lo and Reeves. Like, you always have like 1 to 2 of those 3 guys on the court. And even in those sets where, say Reeves is on the bench with D'Lo, right? Now you have like Dinwiddie and LeBron with, maybe Anthony Davis or Jackson Hayes. And then you have, Rui Hachimura and a Taurean Prince. So now you got some shooting, some spacing, you got a little bit of everything so Spencer Dinwiddie can have success and be successful, right? You have that lob threat. Those things can go a long way. I want to see Spencer Dinwiddie involved a little bit more. I was really disappointed in this Warriors game and thought that this would be a good opportunity for him to get a little more involved. Now, in the same breath, he needs to be a little more aggressive and assertive too, in my opinion, right? I get Spencer Dinwiddie, he doesn't want to rock the boat. He wants to come in and be a guy rather than the guy. Fine, I get that. But we also need you to be assertive and be aggressive. And you saw that, like, we weren't really playing that great, right? This is a good opportunity for you to kind of show, like, hey, don't worry about it. Like, this is why I'm here. Let me go drop. I'm not saying he had to go drop 30 or anything like that, but it would have been nice for him to kind of generate some fouls, get to the foul line, generate some free throws, get some assists going, maybe generate some easy buckets, and be more demanding out there when he's on the court rather than a lot of standing around, right? Like, you see, not the Warriors game, because that was just a terrible example, period, but most of the other games, right? The other 2 games in particular that Spencer Dinwiddie played. Everyone else is moving, except for him, who's just kind of standing in the corner and just kind of scooting back and forth along the 3-point line, right? Where you see, like, Rui is cutting to the basket, this guy's doing that. And a lot of that is just Spencer Dinwiddie doesn't really know, like, the play designs. He doesn't really know where he's supposed to be. He doesn't really know. He hasn't had enough time to kind of learn the ins and outs yet. But we got to start getting there. Got to start getting Spencer Dinwiddie involved in these actions where he's not just a guy that's just standing out there at the 3-point line doing nothing. He's too valuable. He's got the athleticism. He's a good cutter. He's a guy that can make plays. I just think, I'm not saying you have to run your entire offense through him, but it's just like the dude's out there for 25 minutes a game, 30 minutes a game, and he's really only involved maybe like a handful of minutes. Let's call it 5 minutes. So like literally like at most a quarter of the time that he's out there, he's actually involved. He actually has the ball in his hands. He actually is able to make plays and take shots. I'm not saying he needs to take 20 shots a game or anything like that, but this is a guy that we've seen him put up 10 and 4. Right? That's at bare minimum 18 points of offense. Right? If he could do that every game, that's an extra 18 points of offense that we're not generating. That was him not being aggressive. That was him just kind of being out there floating around. We need to see more Spencer Dinwiddie. Right? You brought him in, utilize him. You brought him in, maximize him. Use him as an advantage that he can be for us. Especially in the games where like D'Lo's shot isn't really falling. Right? D'Lo's shot kind of came around a little more in the fourth, so hopefully that's good and that carry over. But Austin Reeves, his poor decision making with the basketball, like, you have Spencer Dinwiddie. There were times where Dinwiddie was on the court and you have Austin Reeves just making bad decisions. And it's like, give the ball to Dinwiddie and let him make the decisions and let Reeves take the shots. Reeves was shooting shot like he was 2 of 5 from 3 or whatever, right? Maybe he would have made a couple more. I don't know. It was a little disappointing. But I can't really put part of it is on Spencer Dinwiddie, don't get me wrong, because he does need to be more assertive. I do think he needs to be more demanding out there. Like, hey, I'm out there too, guys. But I think it's more so on the players and the coach. You got to get him involved. Got to get him in some of these actions. I'm not saying that you run every play through him or anything like that, but you brought him in to be a key piece here and to fill a hole that the Lakers had. Well, you're not filling the hole yet. You just kind of have him out there just as a guy. It's like you could have done that with anybody. Why bring him in if you're not going to have him and utilize him? But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Agree with me, disagree with me, somewhere in between. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the